Hey guys, Greg here, Underground Graphics. Today we're going to do a quick video on the Gladiator rear fender PPF. This has been on our site for quite some time. It was one of the first vehicles that we did that rear fender PPF for. What we have here is Luis's Rubicon, and we are going to redo this graphic. Again, our first one was our Sport, which we modeled that PPF to really go over that OEM spot. We did the same for the Rubicon. And when we got our Wrangler, we ended up extending that to come up a little bit higher over that arch. We did that on the Wrangler because as you exited and entered, they were getting scratches on that fender, so we raised that up. People with the Gladiator have asked, why didn't we do that for the Gladiator? Again, that's why. So what we're gonna do is, again, here is that OEM guard. We've extended this 4 inches to come up to the top. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this off and put on a sample just in black so you can see that area. We're going to use that as well for our website, so you'll see that what coverage you will be getting. We'll pull that off and then we'll go ahead and do the actual PPF install. It's not a very difficult install. There's not a lot of curve on this. This is easier than the Wrangler. Even though it's wider, again, these fenders are different model to model. So we'll go through our slide, our alcohol, our squeegees, our tools, and get going. So anyway, that's what we're covering today, and yeah, let's get going. So first thing we're gonna have to do is let's go ahead and just put this right on top of this, and then we'll come back and get that old one off as part of that install video. As you can see here, I have already wiped this, and again, this is just to show fitment, but we're gonna basically match that. I mean, that's sitting right on top of that OEM piece, and it's gonna come up, you know, it doesn't tuck all the way in the back. Again, it's basically just an extension of the OEM. And again, this is wrap film, so it should, you know, curve to that pretty well. With the PPF, if you haven't installed PPF before, it can be tricky. If you don't feel comfortable with it, we do recommend a professional installation, but it's not bad. It's not bad, just a little bit of patience. So this one, again, this is just our example. This is not the install for the PPF. So again, this is just to show you the coverage area that your PPF will cover. And just a side note, we have had people say, oh my God, I like that. Can you do it in black? Well, of course, yes we can, but it will not be PPF in black. So if you want the accent, just call us. We're not gonna list that on the site. But we have had those questions. You can see there, just like about a 1/4 inch over that stock piece. And again, I'm just doing this so we can get an example of where that will be and how that's going to fit. All right, so that in a nutshell is going to be your coverage area with that PPF. You're just doing this to stop the rocks from hitting up here, those light surface scratches. So again, even the OEM doesn't go all the way in that corner. We can't guarantee 100%, so that's why you do have a little bit of slide in there. If you want to come a little tighter here, excuse me, you'll open up this side here, but again, that is basically right over the OEM fitment. That's going to be your coverage area. Let me go ahead and get a quick snap of that and we'll move on. All right, so we got our picture. We're going to just quickly pull this off. I've got a plastic razor. Whenever we're doing that, I mean, you could use your nail as well, but this just went on minutes ago. But just so you know, if you want to pull stuff off, I never pull straight back. You kind of want to get that adhesive to release. You can also heat that a little bit, give it a little bit of warmth. I don't like that sound of that popping. So you try to get that as a smooth sound, just like that. And that is off. There goes our sample. And now to get into our regular install, we do want to get this warmed up. And this is that OEM one. So what we'll probably likely find, a little bit of paint fade maybe underneath there, but let's look and see what we got. I think this is a 22. The reason I want to heat this up is I don't want that adhesive to stick on there from this original stone guard. And then people ask, you know, why is ours more durable? Is this better? We see more chips in these original ones than we do with the PPF. But again, it's replaceable. It's none of it is going to be a permanent solution. So, you know, do understand whichever way you go, it's not going to last forever. We're a huge fan of Expel, so that's why we use that Expel. And again, it's paint protection film. That's what that's branded as, that's what that works as, and we're just trying to keep those chips off your paint. If it gets chipped up and it's scarred up, it's protecting your paint, it's doing its job. And again, ours will offer more coverage area. So again, now we got that warmed up. Same thing. Just kind of pull up and away. As you can see, there's no adhesive residue coming off of that. That is totally clean. And I'm kind of pulling up and 180 degrees at the same time, kind of towards the surface. You can see there was one rock, looks like it got right through that on that guard, but we will cover that back up. And before we go through and just put a new one on, I am going to go ahead and just do a quick compound on this just to get that blended a little bit. I by am no means a detailer or polisher, but this is pretty simple to do. Let me get those products, and we'll just do that real quick. So if you're getting that shift and that color change, again, that OEM stone guard was right over here. This is where that was unprotected. Ours is going to come up 4 inches on top of that, so we're going to get a little bit more protection. But before we put that new one on, I do want to try to blend this out. Again, we're just using, this is pretty old actually, but just a standard compound. I'm a big fan of Meguiar's as well. This is really easy to use. So let's go ahead and get this going. And like again, I'm not a pro at this. I just hope this works all right. I just want to blend in that area where I know we're going to have our graphic. I don't really need to go down low on that, but we did have that edge on there. So I am going to just kind of go all the way down. And this should get that adhesive line off as well. Once we do this, we'll go back with a little bit of alcohol. If you want a clay, you can as well, but this may do just fine as well. All right. So yeah, that made quite a difference. We do need to get that adhesive off. So to get that adhesive off, again, we don't have an adhesive remover on our site, but maybe something you have there on the house, basically a Goo Gone, or some people even use WD-40 to help take that off, but you can see that finish is way better. Let me go ahead and get that adhesive off. All right, so again, this is just that standard Goo Gone. Get this at the grocery store, at your Lowe's, Home Depot. We're just gonna go right over that area where there was some stubborn adhesive. And if we do have these on the site, these little plastic razors. Those are very helpful in getting that off, and just go lightly with it. That is some stubborn adhesive. It's just that one corner of this. You do want to get that off, otherwise you will see that under the new piece. Now we're going to go to that alcohol. Make sure we get all of that remover off. And this is that alcohol prep spray. This is just the alcohol water mix. I believe we were at 110 alcohol. So basically 10% alcohol, 90% water. You can adjust that if you feel it's too strong or too light. Sometimes you want a little bit more alcohol. I don't like to get too strong with it, but you can go as much as like 30-70. And again, make sure this surface is exactly as you want it, because once this PPF is on, it's on. Unless you want to do it again. You don't want any hairs, you don't want any contaminants, you want anything under there. I'm going to go ahead and do one more shot with the, well, and this is what we used. Did I use this for the alcohol? I mean for the, this is just to buff it. So I'm going to go back over this, that. All right, I'm ready to go on that. Let me get this area cleaned up. I'm gonna come right back and we'll hit that PPF. All right, we are ready to go. I've got a clean microfiber. This one may actually be too clean because it's never been used. Make sure you pull that tag off of that. If you pop out any frays, any little pieces that may still be hanging on in there, I like to wash those first before we use them. And obviously this will come as a set. There is a driver and a passenger. And if you remembered how that old one was on there, there was a king cup here at the top. And that's what this is here. It's just extended. So again, our area is going to be right there. And as far as tools, what comes with these will be your standard squeegee. This is a hard squeegee, plastic on PPF. It can be done, although you will be better suited to use a rubber squeegee. These obviously cost quite a bit more than a standard squeegee, so these are available for purchase on the website. I think they come in yellow or black, doesn't matter, it's gonna serve the same purpose. But if you wanna use this, you can. Just remember, this is self-healing, so if you do get any slight surface scratches in it, a little bit of heat will take that off. It just means that as you're coming off of this, you wanna be careful on your paint. So you may wanna just get that down and then put some tape down or whatever you want to do, but it's very minimal, very light. Just be careful putting that on. I am going to do the rubber squeegee. It is 10 times easier than the plastic. And let's see, we cleaned it. Let's go ahead and get this. Make sure your hands are clean. I just, as I went and threw that stuff away, just shot some alcohol. I'm gonna go ahead and just do it again so you can see it. I like using that alcohol in there, because we are going to handle this. So make sure your hands are clean. And then make sure we're set up. This is top. Again, that's where that kink is in there. It's going to lay right on top of that other section where the old one was, just go a little bit higher. And so that's that piece. I'm going to try to use my fingernails not to put any fingerprints on there, but that's why you want your hands to be clean. And you can also, I'm going to go ahead and go to that slide, and that's that soap water mix. And that is 2 drops of dish soap per 4 ounces. This is a 4-ounce bottle. You have a 16-ounce bottle, you're going to want probably 8 to 10. We're going to go ahead and wet our surface. And I'm going to wet my other fingers, I'm going to touch the back side of that. There we go. And now we're going to wet the top side of this as well. And we want to kind of get this where that last one started. See, it's already started to tag. So you got to be kind of quick with this. So we're going to let that slide right down to where we want it. Right about there. And this will slide a little bit. So, or it'll stretch. It's got a lot of stretch in this. But I want to get that main area down and leave a little bit at the bottom because that's where that's going to stretch. And we're just going to work that out. All that flat surface first. And that's where, like that pop coming over, that's where I like to have that rubber. That rubber is not going to do any damage to your paint, where that squeegee you got to be a little bit more careful with. And as you see, like we're getting those fingers in there, the trick to this is just kind of pushing that out. Getting that, you can stretch this material. And so now we've got that outside edge down. And keep this wet. And if you get a little finger that comes up right there, that's because that water is coming right back up underneath it. So you wrap your edge with that microfiber, and that'll eventually, you have to keep working that a little bit, but that will stay down. And if not, we can pull that back up, that little edge there. And just work it the other direction. And this is where it's kind of tricky, is that the more soap you have, the more less it's going to want to stick down. The more soap you have, the easier it is to move. So it is kind of trying to find that nice balance. But once you get that solution out from underneath, it's going to stick. But you know, feel free to get a little stretch on this. And this rubber also lets you conform to that shape that you're working with. And you can see that now, taking that shape. I'm going to go ahead and go to that dry squeegee. And top side is good. We're going to come back here, work on the bottom. Remember, keeping that wet so that squeegee glides on there. I think that's it. I know it's hard to see from that camera angle, but this has got some pretty good coverage. This is definitely past or even with this body line. So as rocks kick up, I know he's got some Mopar step sliders on here. He shouldn't have any issue on here. Let's just check again, make sure all that is squeegeed out. If you do have anything left over, let it sit for a day or so and see if that doesn't come out. If it doesn't, you can go back with a syringe or just a little, you know, just poke the edge of that, let that release, and that water will evaporate. Small spot right there. I think we got that out though. And guys, that is it. You do want to let this sit for a little bit before you take off and go drive. I'm going to make sure all those edges stay down. If you come back and you have an edge up, that water should have evaporated, so it should just lay right back down. That alcohol mix, if you find the spot that's being tough and stubborn or not wanting to stay down, you can shoot a little bit of that alcohol water mix under there, and that will basically that'll dry up quick. So that will be very quick. So that's almost like a one-shot deal, which is why we use the soapy water mix and not the alcohol mix. But now we've got coverage from here all the way up to here instead of just that. So we're getting a lot more coverage on that. I think for a while, inventory lasts, we're going to have the OEM sizing on special, but we will be moving to that full coverage as our mainstay with that. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Give us a call directly. Always happy to talk. And again, you know, if you're worried about the install, contact a local PPF installer. But if you just watch the video, think you can do it, give it a try. It's not too difficult. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the other side, get this back to Luis, and see you next time. Thank you.